A few months ago, I opened up the Meta Ads library to study one of the categories we were in, and I had to take a double take because I couldn't tell one brand's ads apart from the next. Every single one looked like an Amazon listing. We're talking white background, product in the middle, a discount, a buy now, and that was the whole ad. It all felt very bottom of funnel, and that just doesn't work with cold audiences, and I knew exactly why. See, I've spent the last few years working with nine-figure brands like AG1, Hexclad, or HoloSocks, with our creatives spending tens of millions of dollars, and what I was looking at was the whole industry feeding Claude the same inputs and getting the same ad back every single time. Every single ad in an ad account right now looks exactly the same. So let's put out the ad library and have a look. Okay, so we have the ad library here, and we've written down all-in-one iteration. I filtered for images and memes just to get a bunch of static ads out there, and if we're gonna have a look, but it's all basically the same stuff. So like, for example, this ad here from IM8 is a very, product oriented kind of offer, Amazon style a little bit, where you have products in the middle, an offer, yes, kind of a plain background, white one, and a bottom of funnel offer. If we look at some other ads, it's gonna be more or less the same, okay? So like, this was an offer one. Here is another one from Primal Queen, which is running pretty much the same thing. Like, you have a plain background, a huge inflated price probably, and then a smaller price point. Everything looks basically the same. Here we have a static from Groons. We never do this, a huge offer and a discount. Kind of a plain white background, kind of a plain green, yellow background as well. Social proof, a lot of them, but it's mostly the same. So right now, brands are doing the same kind of stuff with statics. It's limited deals, plain background, an offer, Amazon style, product in the middle. You don't have any variety one brand from the next, and that's an issue because eventually all brands look the same and they're doing the same stuff, and so they're getting averaged out and their results are similar too. This is another very good example of the Amazon style product in the middle offer as headline, white background kind of thing that we were talking about. Also very bottom of funnel as an ad. You don't have any variety on it. If you're not a big brand, like for example, IM8 is writing that playbook, but they're spending $4 million per month, probably, or more on the platform, on Meta. And so if you're not spending that kind of money, you're just gonna get crushed in the Meta ad auction, and that's not how you win. Most of these ads we're seeing right now, they're made with AI, and people are sick of AI. And it's actually measurable. It's not just a feeling. We have a bunch of studies that mention that around 60% of people said that AI-made ads look and sound the same. Look at how similar these two ads are. This one from IM8 has a fairly plain background, a headline, say goodbye to the afternoon slump. Okay, yes, a hand, probably AI made, holding a glass with the product inside. And then this, other ad from Lasuti Hawaii, who's probably well less known than IM8 is, has a very similar feel with like a hand holding the product and a bunch of text in there. These ads are essentially the same. If you copy your competitor and you do the exact same stuff as they do, so who's gonna win the purchase in the auction? Well, the one who spends the most. And in that case, that's probably IM8. So that brand running that kind of ads, very similar to what the biggest competitors in the space are doing, is probably getting very bad results. The thing is, AI only works off the inputs it's given. Everybody's using the same, Meta ad libraries, inspiration, foreplay, Atria, and they're fitting the model with the same inspiration. Same inputs, same ad output. When someone lands on your site, their feed feels with your competitors for a week. And if your ad looks like theirs because you both copied the same source, neither one breaks through. And Meta's Andromeda update now raises your CPMs when your creative is too close to everything else because it reads repetitive content as a bad experience. So once you accept that everyone's pulling from the same place and getting the same ad back, the real question becomes, how do you actually win now? And the answer is by making the one ad nobody else could have made. When you run a concept nobody else is running, you're not bidding against the 10 identical ads for the same impression. You stepped out of the fight and Meta is pushing the budget towards the ads that it thinks has the best shot. 1,000 near identical ads won't save an account. A bigger swing on the concept will beat a small tweak on what already exists every single time. The brands that test net new angles first will get cheap clicks and more ad spend until the competition notices it and copies it. By the time everyone's running your angle, you've already won on it. One real super creative winner can actually outspend every single safe ad you've ever run and pays back on the losers many times over. Also, one ad can actually carry an entire brand for a very long time. Here is an example of some of the most creative bets we've made for a brand client. That client is called Whore Health. Whore Health is FDA approved pill medication that helps you drink less. We've made some of the most creative ads we've ever made for these guys. This is a pretty good example. You have a headline, drinking too much, and a beautiful woman's skin. Most of these people, the people that drink too much, are being judged all the time. And that beautiful ad, beautiful woman kind of skin and feel with that red lip on the mouth is really showing that anybody can be in a drinking situation. And that ad performed really well on the Meta platform. As you guys can see, we've duplicated those ads in many different formats, targeting many different ethnicities and types of people. Now, the question I get on every single call with brands that I have is, how do you make an ad that the machine could never have handed your competitors? Let me walk you through the exact step-by-step process to do that. But before I do, if you spend real money on Meta and you'd rather have net new concepts coming into your account every week than, just receiving more of the same ad, click the first link in the description and book a call with my team. We'll get into your account, figure out which angles nobody has touched yet in your category, and decide which ones are worth testing first. Now let me keep going. The thing is, most brands do this backwards. They open the ad library, they find a concept they like, and then they try to bend their brands towards it. You have to flip that. Start with what your product actually solves, and then go find the concept that delivers that message. Okay, so now let's use an actual example. We have here Rise Science. Rise Science is an app, and it's a brand that helps you with, your daily energy, your performance through improving your sleep and, choosing your bedtime. They help you do that through two things. First of all, they're fixing your sleep depth, and then they are finding your circadian rhythm. Both of them will help you sleep in a much better way and regain energy and, improve your performance as mentioned. I'll open Figma and start mapping the kind of problems the product is solving. Okay, so first we have poor sleep, then we have oversleeping, not knowing when your body needs rest, not having enough energy. Essentially, poor sleep and oversleeping are the inputs of, not knowing when your body needs to rest and not having enough energy. These are consequences. Also, one else we can write down is about performance, feeling behind versus capacities, underperforming. What Rise says is that not only you should sleep more, but also you should know about your bedtime. Because most human beings will not just feel better because they sleep more or because they go to bed earlier. Every single human being has their own functioning, and you need to figure out that. And Rise help you with that. Okay, so first of all, before we head into anything design, conceptualization, we need to find a headline. Okay, so I'll just right here, problems, here, headline. Eventually we're fixing sleep, so I'm gonna write a bunch. Sleep like a baby, and then 10 p.m. might not be your bedtime. Sleep less, feel more energized. Do you actually know your bedtime? And the last one maybe become the best, version of yourself or something like that, okay? These are drafts. We always start with the headline because eventually, first of all, the Meta algorithm will scrap your headlines to understand which audience that ad will go to, so you better start there. And also it gives you some kind of indication of what the concept should look like visually, right? So start with your headline, and then you can figure out an inspiration concept that you'll be able to use. Okay, So we'll head over to Pinterest, and we're doing this because, again, if you use the Meta ad library, you'll probably use an existing ad to make your own ad. And if you do this, you'll produce a more mediocre version of an existing ad, okay? And you'll be competing in the auction against something that exists. And if that competitor is spending more money than you do on the platform, then you'll be crushed in the auction. So with our headline, we have sleep like a baby, 10 p.m. might not be your bedtime, sleep less, feel more energized. I think I'll go with the sleep like a baby option just because I feel like visually we can do a lot of things with it and it can be fun. Okay, so how about sleep like a baby? Okay, this is perfect actually. This is exactly what I wanted. This is perfect because you have a grown man's face with a baby body. Okay, so we go back to Figma, we write here concept, inspo, and we drop the concept, inspo. So here we are on Figma where we mapped out Rise Science problems that they're solving with their app product. So poor sleep, oversleeping, not knowing when your body needs rest, not having enough energy, feeling behind versus capacities, etc. We decided to start with poor sleep, and then we wrote a bunch of headlines. And the one I chose for this concept is sleep like a baby because it's very visual and it proves the point. It proves the point that if you want to win again on Meta, you have to be different. And just showing the app product mockup with the headline and a bunch of social proof is not cutting it anymore. We have to be visually impressive to stop the scroll on Meta. And this is the kind of concept that allows us to win on Meta. Okay, so here we are on ChatGPT to actually create that. The first thing we can do is upload the inspiration and reverse engineer the actual prompting that's being used. Okay, so like, please reverse engineer a system prompt that would have generated that ad. You are an award-winning print advertising creative director specializing in healthcare, public awareness, and etc., etc. Your task is to generate a concept that communicates a single message instantly through a visual metaphor. Creative framework, research style, copywriting, etc., etc., etc. Thank you. Now, please give me a prompt that would have generated exactly that visual. We're going to refine this a little bit and I'll show you the final output. Awesome. So we've refined the prompt a little bit just to get the perfect feel we want. And this is what we came up with. Let's see how ChatGPT produces the image output. Okay, this is fine. I think we can use that. The only parts here, you want to have space at the top to be able to add your headline and a bunch of other elements. So we're going to say, make the baby smaller and place it in the middle so that we can have room at the top to insert our headline and at the bottom to add a CTA. Yes, that works. Let's have a look. So this visual right here works really well, but we could also add a little bit more information, just like we have here on this inspiration with that white sticker. Yeah. Okay, so that's actually perfect. We have on this image here a little bit more space to work with. Adult bedtime tips. When you were 2, your parents knew your bedtime was 7:30 p.m. Now you don't know yours, right? Does. Mine is, 11:47 p.m. Your body sets it. Time to honor it. Here we are with the final ad output where we are seeing a highly creative image representing one of the problems the product is solving, which is to sleep like a baby. We've started with the headline. It works really well visually. You have a grown-up man, with a bird and everything, and you have a baby body. You have this, which adds a little bit more of a composition, a logo, and just a CTA to take the free quiz. This is pretty much it. Instead of going through the ad library and trying to find something we could use as a template, we worked from the product and what it solves for their audiences, and we worked backwards from it, right? I found an amazing inspiration image on Pinterest, and we used that to make an ad. But none of this works if you can't tell the difference between an idea that's actually good and one that feels different. And it all comes down to what AI can't give you yet, which is taste. Taste is being tapped into culture, trend, and emotion, knowing what a visual will make someone feel before they've read a word. And that's exactly where AI is weakest. It's strongest at the hard data, which is the part that's replaceable. The good news is taste is trainable. You have to consume as much content as you can outside of your category, outside of the ad libraries. Our design team actually have an art background. They come from theater, fine art. They hang around at galleries or they've studied cinema. So whenever they come up with an idea, they pull from a much deeper background than just what's working on Meta this week. And you can do the same by changing how you feed your own head. You can and should still use AI, but as an infrastructure or for executing an existing idea. The data also agrees with that. Only 13% of people would trust a fully AI-made ad, when 48% of them would trust an ad that's made by both a designer and AI, which is why blending the two of them together is the fix everyone's landing on. If you want to crush on the Meta platform in 2026, you have to be willing to take creative bets. More often than not, the ads that perform the best on Meta will be the ones that live on the edge of what Meta actually allows to run. We have here a pretty good example of a bunch of ads we made for the brand Snoozy. Snoozy is a gummy brand that runs THC-infused products. This is the kind of ads that live right on the edge. It's creative enough to perform, but it's not over the line so that Meta will actually reject your ad or your ad account will be at risk. You have a headline that speaks for itself. The visual is highly representative visual, a little bit explicit, and this is a very good ad. These Snoozy ads here are one of the boldest ads we've ever pushed. We also made another bunch of ads for Knobs that are super on the edge. Knobs is a toothpaste product, and as you can see, we pushed the product and placed it on an AI-generated mouth, and you have a bunch of people just working the teeth out. Another super bold ad we made for Freebird, a brand that sells razors to men, where we're showing a baby, and like it's just to represent visually how soft the razor is, because it's like a baby's face, you know? AI didn't ruin static ads for everyone. It ruined it for the people who let it do their thinking. For anyone who brings their own taste and their own ideas, it's the best tool they've ever had. The brands that win the next few years aren't gonna be the ones with the best AI because everyone has the same AI now. They're gonna be the ones who still bring an idea to it that the machine could never have come up on its own. So if you want my team at Static to be that ID layer for your brand, finding new angles your competitors haven't touched yet and building them every single week, the first link in the description will get you a call with us. We work with brands spending serious money on the Meta platform. Brands like HoloSocks, who found their first winners with us on their first month, and we'd love to take a look at your account as well. And if you want to see the whole thing in action, how we go from a blank page to a finished one-of-one ad for a real brand, go check out the video right here on the screen, and I'll see you on the next one.